Most people think about buying a home is just about having a place to live. But what if your home could actually help you build wealth? Today, I want to show you a strategy called house hacking and how you can use real estate and leverage to completely change your financial future. Because here's the reality. Real estate is one of the only assets where you can control a large investment with a relatively small amount of money up front. That's leverage. That's your down payment, your closing costs. And when you combine that with rental income and the right strategy, you're not just paying down a mortgage, you're building equity, you're creating income, and you're setting yourself up for long-term growth. So instead of looking at your mortgage as debt, what I want you to start thinking about is your mortgage as a tool that if used properly can help you reduce your cost of living, pay off your home faster, and eventually turn one property into multiple assets. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to walk you through a real life scenario. Okay, this has happened. And I want to show you exactly how someone starting with one property can use that strategy to build significant wealth over time. Let's start with Samantha and Joe. They're 25 years old. They're making about $140,000 of household income. They're going out and they're going to buy a $750,000 duplex with about $50,000 down. Pretty normal situation, nothing crazy here. Their mortgage is about $2,850 a month. And when you add in property taxes, heat, their total cost is about $3,300 a month. Now, this is where things start to change. They rent out the basement for $1,800 a month. And here's something most people don't realize. Because they have a rental unit, now they can write off the part of the interest, part of the property taxes and utilities, and other expenses related to that rental. So even though they're collecting rent, they may actually reduce their taxable income at the same time. But the biggest decision they need to make is this. Instead of spending that $1,800 a month, they're going to take that entire amount and use it to aggressively pay down their mortgage using their prepayment privileges. So same money, just redirected. And when you do that consistently, here's what happens. They're going to end up paying off their mortgage 14 years faster. They're going to save over $268,000 in interest, not because they earn more money, just because they use the cash flow differently. Now let's layer in a really conservative assumption. We're going to assume that the property only grows at 0.8% per year, basically a flat market. After 8 years, that property is worth about $800,000. But because of the way they structured things, their mortgage is down to around $435,000 now. So they have about $365,000 in equity. And this is the key point. Most of that didn't come from the market. It came from their strategy. They started with $50,000 and they turned it into $365,000. That's leverage. That's rental income. That's discipline, pay down, all working together. Now fast forward to their 33 years of age, 8 years later, their income has grown to about $200,000 household, and they've built up $365,000 in equity. This is their turning point because now they have options. So they refinance the property, they access about $205,000, and instead of just upgrading their lifestyle, they're going to redeploy that money. They're going to take about $67,000 and buy a second property. Then they're going to take the remaining amount and invest that. That's about $138,000 invested. So now they've taken one property, turned it into two properties and an investment account. On the second property, they're going to follow the exact same playbook. They're going to live in one unit, they're going to rent out the other, and then they're going to use that rental income to aggressively pay down the mortgage. Over time, that property gets paid off more than 14 years faster. Again, saves them about $280,000 in interest. Meanwhile, their first property after refinancing is mostly covered by the rental income. There's still a small amount going toward principal, but the tenant is doing most of the heavy lifting there. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. At age 33, they're bringing in over $6,000 a month in rental income across both properties. But because of the interest and expenses, they're only taxed on a portion of that income. So now they're building equity, they're generating income, they're doing it in a tax efficient way. Now let's fast forward again to their age 48. One of their properties is now completely paid off. The other still has a mortgage on it, but it's a much smaller one by now. And even with very conservative appreciation, property one is worth about $850,000, with over 500,000 in equity. Property 2 is worth 910,000. That's fully paid off. So combine that now with about 1.45 million in real estate equity. And on top of that, their investment account has grown. So let's say modestly about 455,000. Now they're sitting on 1.9 million in net worth, and they only started with $50,000. This isn't about timing the market. This is about using a repeatable strategy. And the strategy is simple. Buy smart. Use rental income to reduce your costs and pay down your mortgage faster, build up equity, then unlock it and reuse it. That's how one property turns into two and more. So now let's switch gears for a second, because this isn't just about buying. It's also about what happens at renewal. Most people get a renewal letter from their bank. What do? Sign it and move on. No questions asked, but what they're missing is huge. They're missing better rates elsewhere, opportunities to consolidate debt, ways to improve their monthly cash flow, or even shift their strategy entirely. Maybe they can house hack. Who knows? A renewal is not just a formality, it's an opportunity, because with the right strategy, your mortgage can help you. It can help you to pay it off faster, improve your cash flow, or even use equity to invest. Think about it like this. Two people can have the exact same mortgage, the exact same rate, the exact same payment. And one pays it off in 30 years while the other one pays it off in 20 years. The difference isn't the rate, it's the strategy. It's what they do with the prepayment privileges. And this is where most people get it wrong. They focus mostly on the rate and they ignore penalties. They don't review their options at renewal, and they don't have a long-term plan. So if you're ever thinking about who can I help? It's first-time home buyers, anyone renewing in the next 12 months, or people carrying high-interest debt, or anyone looking to invest or build wealth. My goal is simple. It's to give clear explanations, provide multiple options, and build a strategy that actually fits your goals. And the way I do that is through a very simple process. We start with the discovery. We understand what you're trying to do. Then I get into all the underwriting to find out what's actually possible. Then I'll put together a strategy that has the best path forward to your plan, and finally execute it. And that is basically it. At the end of the day, this isn't about mortgages. It's about what your mortgage can do for you. Dwayne Cavanaugh, mortgage agent, level 2, Mission 35, mortgages here in Hamilton. Bye for now.